You see it?
No, I keep coming down to the one underneath.
Yeah,
So
it's the
I'll
first
see it
thing on my page.
before you go live.
Yeah, you should,
Okay.
because we're live now.
Okay, I see
So
it.
you should see it. It's the first thing on my page.
Okay.
While you're looking, I'm gonna go ahead and play the startup.
Go right ahead.
Right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Welcome to the Doc and the Radical program. Peace and blessings, Doc. Come on in and introduce yourself.
All right, my brother. Trying to be to multitask right now. All right, I am Dr. James Thomas Jones, third Catherine Viola Jones's baby boy. I'm a African American Studies professor. Focus my studies and my time on Black manhood, on Black Panther Party, Black Power, civil rights, Black popular culture. And I am one of them that still loves hip hop. Not all facets and recent manifestations of it, but I still do listen to some contemporary artists. Creator of Manhood, Race, and Culture, the YouTube channel, and also the blog site, www.manhoodraceculture.com. And just happy to be here with my brother. Look forward to this all day long.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. We got a special guest with us for the first hour of the program. Shanez, peace and blessings, Sean. Come on off of mute and come and introduce yourself. Sean, can you hear me? Sean, you're on mute. Take yourself off of mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. All
hi,
right.
yes, this is Jaguar's mother.
Okay. Sean, go ahead and introduce yourself so the audience know who you are.
I'm my son Jaguar Butler became illegally abducted. That involved Boston Medical Center when I had just won my housing back that I had been fighting for over a year, and I was visiting through Massachusetts. That's a process and procedure. I was referred by the welfare office to go to the hospital, Boston Medical Center, and that's where the whole illegal abduction plot and trauma started. Um, started on that Monday, and on Wednesday, March 24th, my child was illegally abducted from 811 Massachusetts in Roxbury, Boston, Massachusetts. That also involved illegal malconduct of the police unit there in the Massachusetts area. It's been 2 years. It occurred on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. I have been having fake court dates. The judge said on March 29th that they would not keep my child, and my child was supposed to be returned to me on April 5th. The April 5th court came. That's when they kept me out of the court hearing, and the attorney Patrick Long got there, and he gonna tell me to go to the courthouse and find out what has happened on my own. Within the last 2 years, myself and others have attempted several times. What happened was when I attempted to go to the courthouse to get the first court documents within about 72 hours of I was in the area by the courthouse. I believe in suspected AirPod on my jacket or my vehicle, the vehicle that I was using and had at that time, and the vehicle was vandalized. And what was odd about it was that I had a big bin of food and other items in there that was left alone. The only thing that was taken was the items that were taken was my bags with my evidence that they was attempting to take when they illegally abducted my son, along with the jewelry, his art bag. So they mainly were looking for took the book bags with my evidence concerning the missing they have. And this has been a whirlwind. I've had attorneys that pretend that they was my attorney, refused to give me documentation, which included Neil Wysocki, and went from Neil Wysocki to Scott Kahn. I've had nonprofits that have got there and also been fraudulent in assisting me 401c3s. As a matter of fact, one of them, they was claiming as their husband, one of their through the federal indictment, the FBI said that that's not their husband. It came up that that's their partner instead of their husband. I've had, like I said, all the, because many people are going to ask, like all the people I contacted to get assistance, and I've also had the Bring hashtag actually started off the hashtag that I have for my son, Return Jaguar, and also the Bear Witness hashtag. So I do want to include and speak on the nonprofits that I have reached to and celebrities that have stolen from me and re-traumatized of being returned to me.
Okay, Sean, you went through that pretty fast, but just so that our audience can definitely understand what was going on. Your son was kidnapped from you, and that had taken place in the state of Massachusetts.
Yes.
And what year was that again?
2021. It's been over 2 years.
And you said that there were certain nonprofits that were helping you or trying to help you?
Yeah, certain nonprofits that I reached out to, and including a celebrity that I have reached out to for assistance and have been re-traumatized. One of them I had the interview with on the Raw Live Young Show. That was one of them. They have a nonprofit that was supposed to be assisting me, and they end up railroading it. So I'm going to speak about both of the incident that happened along with the action that I have taken. Because many people are like, but well, what are you doing? Get on the internet and so forth like that. And so that's why I'm covering both of it in one paragraph.
Okay. Doc, do you have any opening questions for Sean that you would like to ask?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I don't have a clear understanding of what happened, how you encountered. I had a cousin who had a very similar situation in the state of Ohio, and her child's contact came at the elementary school. And I was just wondering, where did the paths cross of you CPS or whoever it is that took your child?
It started on March 22nd, 2021. It started on that day where I had just won my housing voucher back. And the welfare office there, someone told me to go to the welfare office, that they would assist me. So because I had just got my voucher back, I already was on housing list. It's a big, long process. So I just needed Massachusetts temporarily until my housing became available in the previous places that I applied for, because I had been going across the country and fighting over a year with my housing. With and I can discuss, and we did a show previously about the apartment fraud that is going on across the country, where they put you in dilapidated apartments with housing vouchers, and then it's hard to get out, and then they intimidate you for reporting it and retaliate, and then you're stuck, then you're basically homeless. So that's what happened to me, and my son did not keep still in the hospital. He's special needs, he's deaf, and that the guy that used multiple names, he used the name Edward, Teddy, and Brandon at Boston Medical Center. Someone was telling me they suspect that he wasn't even a licensed social worker, and he put in a report for child neglect. At the hospital, there was a dispute amongst the employees at the hospital for putting a report in, and for him intentionally antagonizing my son to act up. He was intentionally antagonizing my son to act up, and had this another case. I don't know exactly what her title is with DCF. Her name was Bianca Fasinke. To intentionally antagonize and set up my child to into their trafficking plot.
You were at the hospital, and then a worker at the hospital was antagonizing Jaguar to make him to escalate his behavior. And then that employee went and called Child Protective Services on him.
Yes, when I put a report in, he also had, another employee told me, when I asked for his supervisor, another employee told me that really was his co-worker and not his supervisor. I'm going to give, she had the name Peggy on her name tag. He had the name Edward something. I didn't get the last name, but he used three names was used for him: Edward, Teddy, and Brandon. Those were the three names that was used for him. And of course, when Peggy came, Peggy appeared as though she was pregnant. And somebody told me to the side, they say, "Oh, that's his co-worker. That's not his supervisor."
Okay.
And so I'm in urgency for everyone viral this live and other previous interviews I did about my son. I'm in urgency for someone to definitely get the rally going on and advocacy for my son. I've been refused court documents, which officially make this an official federal kidnapping. So the fact that I've been refused court emblem signed documents, and then they get there and they add insult to injury, talking about, well, what do you mean you want court emblem signed documents? I say, you can't. The actions that are being done, you can, we've helped so many people. Being the host of the Archives of the Black Parent, we've had so many people over the last decade get their children back, keep the food stamps on, and get their housing. We've helped them with so much, put relationships back together, get them out of jail. We have did so much for so many people. Even when the teachers, when they had Teachers of America, when they had the students installed in the class, you know what I'm saying? We have been very effective with that, but now that it's my time, it's like we're on a skeleton schedule, and it's very slim help. Include, like I said, one of the celebrity cases where they stole my concept, and they went on about their merry way, and went on to help everybody else with it, and left my son out of the promotion, and continue to this day to steal from my child.
Wow. Doc, you have any more questions? No?
I think that the question I would have is what was the reason why the child was taken, why you guys traveled to the hospital? Because that seems to be where the encounter occurred.
Okay, you said what was the reason I had to go to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay, I had just got my house because we didn't have housing at that time. As you can recall, when the dilapidated, I had been fighting my housing. I was standing in an apartment where the ceiling had collapsed. Water had came out through the ceiling, messed up the apartment. The fire was coming out the sockets. I had been fighting over a year with the housing. We were locked in the house. So this had me going from state to state, and then I had just won my housing voucher back. The previous week before my child, a few days before my child was kidnapped from me, I had just won my housing voucher back with all the advocacy that was being done for me and my son at that time for over a year. I had just gotten my housing voucher back. Beyond this time. And in the midst of that, I was visiting someone for the weekend, and I said, well, look, I need assistance. Just got my housing back, so I just need this area here until I get my housing, until my voucher, the housing I had applied for, go through. That's what the reason why I went to the hospital, because the welfare office, I was told, they said, well, if you go to the welfare office, they say in Boston, they'll put you in a place. They're supposed to house you in a hotel or a room. They're supposed to give it to you instantly. They told me to go to Boston Medical Center. They're in Roxbury. And that's how this here plot and trauma started.
Wow, that's wow. Wow, just one piece of advice led you to, and then you're saying while you guys were at the hospital that your child was antagonized, and then the system began.
He was antagonized, and they had us coming back. And they had us in the hospital room. And they're going through this process of procedure. He's special needs. He's autistic, and that's going to trigger him. When he was at that hotel at 811 Massachusetts, I believe Hilton, which I have contacted them. So I'm going to always have side notes. I have to speak on everything because they have all been contacted, and I have received poor response from all of them at 811 Massachusetts. His behavior was good there. They had no problem with him. And that's the location where he was abducted on the evening of Wednesday, March 24th, 2021.
And you haven't seen your child in 2 years?
I have not seen him in 2 years. The last video conference, if you go to the YouTube channel, Return Jaguar, RETRN JAQUAR. Go to that channel. I have a video of the last video conference that I had of him. When, a matter of fact, I was one of the nonprofits that we assisted 10 years ago when their child got abducted, which I was speaking about them earlier, being involved with federal investigation and indictment. They were supposed to be assisting me with my child. That was the last video conference that I had when I was in Art League. That was the last video conference, and I'm suspecting they had interference and disturbance so that I wouldn't get any further video conference and also with total justice with my child. So we helped them 10 years ago. Their child back.
Well, there's, I no words, that I can offer. I can't imagine, not seeing my child in 2 years. I can't imagine. So I have no words. I don't know what to possibly say. What would you? What would you? How can we help you? How can those listening and those who will view this recording, how can they help you?
The first thing they could do is certainly make this here a lot of the interviews I did have been taken down artly across the internet because I've been on various networks. The only one that's up is the Raw Young Live, which that one was totally uh like I said, that one is the only one that's up besides the other ones that I have did. And I'm encouraging everyone to share these interviews. Contact Edward Brook Courthouse, reach out, and hashtag return Jaguar. Everyone thinks the bring hashtag came from someone else. That is originally my hashtag from when my child, which there's another long story and another show additional that needs to be done among this here because it will show you a lot of these spin-off Black Lives Matter and celebrity, upcoming celebrity facade and also those non-profits, they have to be exposed because they've been a part of my child being denied being returned to me. Like I said, many of those, like I said, that we have helped and we're helping in the midst of the time. And at the time, I'm just dismayed and disgusted at doing like how with the experience I've been through. And many people keep continuously ask, well, do this here, do that, and that's a lot of times why I tell them what I have done and what I've been through with such and such titles and celebrity facades, so that they can know that this is not something where I'm just sitting here gloomy and I haven't been taking action. I need everyone else to share. The Return Jaguar YouTube platform has been shadow banned, so I need everyone raising the algorithm, sharing that platform, contacting, doing what they can. Edward Brook Courthouse is the one that's supposed to be involved. There's some parties that have told me that well, I am right that my child's supposed to be returned on April 5th. There is no case, but they have been doing fake court hearings that include Sharana Sanfordoma, Rodretta Sharika Evans, Brianna Jacqueline Pierre, Gretchen Zoe Medina, which her license has expired. She was working as an RN and also as a lawyer, a DCF lawyer at the same time. Her license has expired up in December. So of course this show will go on forever because it will be exposing intentional trafficking plots. They have multiple date of birth. They have refused court documents to me. A whole bunch of scandal behind all of them. I have even contacted those that have been partner acquaintances of John Peterkin Clark, and they have informed me but they are kin to her, and they're some information I ain't able to release because it's like once I release it, it could be their lives at danger, and there are people that have been attacking the midst of this. But right now, I need the viral support. That same support that was given one who had lost her children, the American Idol contestant, that was on TMZ, that stole my hashtag, that stole other concepts and things from everything everything she used for her platform was stolen from me. I need that same support. My child is the one that Chef gave that same support because it came from me, and I'm consistently getting looked at when I campaign across this country as though I haven't did nothing, as though I haven't reached out, and as though I don't even know what the internet is. Even with me consistently up front, I'm a journalist. I'm the host of the Archive State of Black Parent. We have helped so many people, and because it hasn't reached the TMZ and the other major platform networks, which oddly the Twitter, when I was notifying them, I was like, well, hey, that's my hashtag, and such is doing fraud and so forth like that. The Twitter platform, several of those pages were shut down with promotion for my child. So right now, I need people to actively be sharing consistent out the day, every day about my son, getting contact information, and personally assisting us, detailing, private investigators. I don't know where my son is. On October 8th, that Sunday, they sent a notice to someone that was saying they was my attorney, but I don't have no formal papers. Scott Kahn, Kuhn, that my child was being transferred out of the state of somebody using the name of an alleged kin. They received paperwork from other states, illegal paperwork about details of my child, ID information. I've been having issues with my they ran my credit and presented the credit information. When I asked the Hilton Hotel to get there and release the videotape to me, they have refused to release the video. and it will be evidence of Rosetta Sharika Evans releasing information that she have, and then she spoke to another person saying information that would only about be on my credit report. Uh, the Rosetta Sharika Evans and John Peterkin Clark. Those were the ones um, that came after Edward, the guy that used the three different Edward, Teddy, Brandon, and Bianca Pacinque, and the other parties that were involved at Boston Medical Center. They was the ones that came and illegally abducted my child. Right now that's what I need the assistance at, along with contacting to contact Edward Brook Court or the Massachusetts Federal Court. I need assistance on that actually has the power to get there, find these court documents, and get action taken against all this party. I just found out, and I don't know when Massachusetts changed their governor from Charles Baker to it's a woman governor. Her name Maury. I contacted her when I was district attorney. When they interrupted the phone systems, when she would call me back, I would be on hold a long time, or the phone would automatically hang up. It has been so much interference. There has disturbances that have occurred with my with every action, many actions I've taken with my son. And it's been over 2 years. We don't know where he is, but they said they were going to send my child to Logan Airport on October, that Sunday, the 9th. Or they sent it on the 8th. They said the next day on Sunday, October 9th, Gretchen Zoe Medina, whose license has been expired in December, that they were sending my child out of state somewhere. We don't know where my child is. I also come to find documents. Someone forged documents that involve New Mexico. When I contacted the agency in New Mexico, they said they wasn't aware of my child and that they don't even do business with Massachusetts, which was a Blake Lopez and Nicole Goodman that was doing documents with my child name on it. And those very similar to Latasha Scott of escape situation is what I have been through.
Okay, Sean, I know you said that you would like everybody to share. Is there anything else?
I directly have them to contact you so that we can get involved with personally getting the documents. And Massachusetts, the federal courthouse, we need people that can find where contact with the locate. Is my child in New Mexico? Is my child in California with Tara Kalinsky or Kimberly Denise Walker Martiz or Diane Robertson Walker, which also connects. It's another story that spins off today that connects to Shaquilla Robinson with that matter there. Is my child in that location? Is my child in the Tennessee area? Is my child in the Texas area? Is my child in New Mexico? We don't know where my child is. So right now, this should be this should have been a worldwide case when it first happened. The fact it was a legal abduction, and the fact that Miranda at the Edward Brook Courthouse refused to legitly put me on the phone. They intentionally were hanging me up. Patrick, and also with Patrick Long, that was born in Knoxville, Tennessee, he was getting there. He gonna send a text message, which I have sent a screenshot out to you, where he says, "Well, go find this out on your own. Go to the courthouse and find out on your own." Other parties that have been involved with this case here, and I appreciate them very much. I don't even know if I should even call their names, that have did all they could. They had their vehicles vandalized to where the mechanic was saying, "No, something is going on with your vehicle. This is a brand new vehicle. Why is this happening?" Their phones they had where their phones couldn't ring, very similar to me. And I appreciate them everything for what we did. We have been separated in communication and denied of assisting Jaguar justice of being returned. Um, and locating him and return justly back to me, his full mother. I am, because conception carried and delivered him fully. Because that's the other question, the other foolishness conversation that they like to start as a barrier to, oh, well, why the child was taken. And that's not a debate with me at all. Because Maurice, you've been tending to my child since before he was in the womb. You've been aware about you know what I'm saying. You've been there for my child. You have helped my child. And
Right,
basically raised him. For like I said, um, we need people with legal and on the ground footwork to do the rallying, locating my child. Whatever the steps that need to be done, that's what I need. Locating my child, getting him returned back to me, and federal involvement for all these people to get raided, to rescue and release my son back to me. Exactly what my question is, what exactly is needed between the federal court? We haven't even contacted the military court, the USDOG. I haven't even been a lifetime in A&E studios. That's just how much I have put too much energy, wasted time. Let's say that too much wasted time that has not benefited my son, and more so, my son has been dangered. And like I said, we don't even know if my child is living or not. I haven't heard anything since I spoke to him, and he did not want to speak. He was saying they have brainwashed him with when he first left, that's all he was doing was contacting me. There's video witnesses of those that have like been part of the advocacy where they witnessed him steadily calling for me and say he wanted me. But recently, he's been brainwashed so bad. He was telling me he didn't like hamburgers, and of course, this long they have, of course, poisoned him as though I have neglect, as though I have not available to him, and as though he belonged to them. And so right now, whatever they would do if it was their child, that's what I need everyone to do for mine.
exactly, exactly. Sean, how old is Jaguar now? Brother Fred is asking the question in the chat.
He was kidnapped at around 10 years old. On March 24th, 2021, and he is around 12 adolescent at this time.
Mm. You know, there was a case recently this year as well, where a family driving through Tennessee was stopped in Nashville, and the state trooper pulled over the car because the car had dark tint. Pulled the car over. They let the windows down, of course. Then there was the smell of marijuana. Based off the smell of marijuana, the tint, they took 5 Black children, and they're not returning the children. They found I believe it's 5 grams of marijuana in the car. And so they use that as the basis to take the children. They've been to court several times, and the state of Tennessee is refusing to return the children. But to me, anytime that a state has the ability to take away your child, that's way too much power that any person
I had
has. Go ahead, Sean.
I have contacted that state also because the alleged name that was being used. Um, and I'm really suspecting that someone in California, maybe, I'm gonna say the West Coast, someone on the West Coast, because this could be very random, and my child could be actually be exchanged between many parties. Is fraudulently using an alleged kin of my child from out of Tennessee. And when I contacted that courthouse, not the courthouse, I contacted the airport. Told me to send her an email, and oddly, I got a response back that my email was blocked from her to tell them to be monitoring and put out an Amber Alert of my child illegally possibly coming through their airport from what Gretchen Zor Medina, whose license is expired now, who was an RN and a lawyer at the same time. And I don't know if you could be an RN and a lawyer at the same time. Does it make sense? Her license is expired. And this action here, and she also uses two birthdays. Let me also notice that. That's why everything is gonna always have so many details to it when I'm speaking about it, because these traffickers, they make it so you can't just say one sentence or just keep it simple because they have so much Halloween and trickery with them. But yeah, I did contact the airport in Tennessee to put out a Amber Alert and a flash notice about a legal of my child being sent their fraudulent documents.
Mm, mm, mm. This is definitely in a situation that needs to be handled quickly, knowing the type of people that have taken Jaguar and many other children. We know that sex trafficking with children is real. There was a school in was it the Frankfurt experience, Frankfurt study or something? I don't remember the name, but there was a school where this type of thing was happening to the children, and they were being taken from their parents and then sent into this environment. Um,
But that was in Tennessee. Georgetown, they also had Maine was involved with it. Uh,
mhm,
And also, Jim Jones, they have parties that, matter of fact, with the investigation that we've been researching, there's already was an Evans family that is from Massachusetts that was involved with Jim Jones. There's an article that was written back up in the 70s, and you have to get it on microfilm about Jim Jones being connected to the United States foster care system himself. And there's an Evans family, and oddly, it's an Evans, and oddly, her birthday is on the same day that Jim Jones and them committed suicide on November 18th. That's very oddly and coincidental.
mm, exactly, exactly. Shauna, is there anything else you would like to say before we transition to the second half of the program?
I certainly have to speak about speaking about the experience I've had. Like I said, the nonprofits that like I said, that we have helped 10 years ago. The celebrity Saisha Mercado, who lost her, that was American Idol contestant that lost her children twice, along with other parents. The competition that has, I'm just dismayed and disgusted at the with parents and behind the scene. A lot of action that's happening off the scene between the parents of it's becoming a competition of, well, I get who gonna get their child back, and it's a lot of what's the word to you? I'm trying to figure the words and the exact description of it. It's not like it is being a competition and a lot of treachery that is going on behind the scenes of many. Now I don't even know the words to use. Many or several parents that I have dealt with and also watched ourselves going through other nonprofits that have dealt with several parties with this with our children be kidnapped. I mean, it makes no sense. It even sounds embarrassing for me to even say this here. If you're for our community, a lot of people been in spin all Black Lives Matter. If you're for our community, stop getting there saying you're for the black community, that you're healing the black community, and all you're doing is fraud, and you're being a Jim Jones spinoff, and all you're doing is getting notoriety, out for notoriety, fashion, and design. That's all that you're out for. You aren't about and then they're also about doing this little trade thing about, okay, well, you too much for me to get there and appreciate, and it's your concept, but I'm gonna take the credit for it and so forth like that. And you should humble yourself, and for the greater good, you should get there and be okay with your child being away while everybody else's child be returned. That's a disgust and dismay, and that's just a casualty to the whole community. And this here also has to be brought up in the midst of this here at all, because I continuously when I go country to country, people are just saying things that, of course, common sense. I'm telling them, if I've been a journalist, what I'm saying, my child has been with me for a whole decade, and I'm telling them about the people that I've been involved with. Of course, I don't need to be told to go to the internet. I don't need to be told to get with other parents that's going through the same situation, especially when I'm telling the experiences that I've been through from stealing my hashtag, stealing platform. Nonprofits taking the information and then they go behind my back because they want me to work for them for free and stuff like that. But they're going to federal prison for fake W-2s and tax invasion. But I was working for free for them and they didn't pay me. And they're supposed to be helping with my child, and I didn't help them with their child. That you like that has to also be addressed at the same time within our community because we're not going to get anywhere if we're getting there advocating for so many people, and then when it personally happens to the genuine of us, then behind the scenes these folks are doing stuff such as forging documents. They're doing stuff to intentionally get my child denied his return and abused more so. And you know, it don't make sense, but that's also what happened and it has to be brought highlights to also.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Sean, as you know, we appreciate you for coming and telling us what is going on, what do you need, and we're definitely there to help. You know that. Doc, do you have any closing comments for Sean before we transition?
Let me just say, I feel horrible about your plight. Let me say that about, and if I can extend it about our plight. There's a certain, and I say this often, there's a certain level of trouble that our people can get into for whatever reason. This was not due to any fault of your own. That there's no one who's Black who is able or willing to help them get out of. Jesus, what can we do? You know, there's the mass movement thing to bring attention to it, and then there's legal representation. I don't know which one is more achievable, to be honest with you, because that solidarity that is so crucial, and especially when you're talking about dealing with people who, like yourself, who have been movement people, and we will not rally for you when we need to. It's shameful. It's disappointing. And then the fact is that I would like to say that we work towards getting some type of legal representation in Boston, but we don't even know if the child is still in Massachusetts. This is, I don't know what to do.
Well, anybody in Waltham or throughout this country, y'all put flyers, go to the YouTube channel, Return Jaguar. The hash is also a hashtag, and I had that from the day that my child started, and I am actually the innovator of the Bring hashtag. So there has been a false press release and misconception about the Bring hashtag, along with the Bear Witness hashtag, which I can come on another show and give more detailed information about that. So everyone, urgent about my son. Like I'm all cried out, and my child is suffering. And we have did so much. I'm not just even saying me. And anybody that knows me, we've helped people get their food stamps, keep their housing. Like I said, when they had the Teachers of America, people know the reputation of that. We have helped with that. We've helped people get their children back when dealing with New York, the state of New York. And this person went off to end up, they got a nonprofit and so forth like that. And here it is. We're left to defend for ourselves when our children are in danger. When we done healed everybody else, and a lot of people have this social path beside to getting 401c3s, being star sheet operators.
Do you have a number that someone could contact you?
Okay, this number. Okay, what is this number here? And tell them to continue. If they don't get a response within 24 hours, to do call back. Send a text. Try all means possible. Sometimes it says you have reached your limit of texting. It tells me that at random sometimes. Okay, now I'm seeking to get the number. Maurice, could you give them the number?
Yeah, bro, you can give me the number offline, and we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have, okay.
All right, perfect. All right, Sharnez, we're going to go ahead and transition. We're in the second hour. We're going to transition to the other half of our program. You're welcome to stay on if you would like. You have any closing comments you would like to give?
I'm looking for the number to give the people to contact. Do you have the number? Let me see. For them to contact me.
646.
Do you have the number on your screen? Because it's not showing on my end right now.
Yeah, 646 516.
I'd like everyone to have the number to call and leave voicemails and texts. If they locate my child, contacting the federal, if they know direct people in the federal justice system that will get justice for my child. Do you have the number? Yes,
I'm giving it out now. The number is 646 516 8558. Again, that number is 646 516 8558. So if you have anything you want to reach out to Shaughnessy about, please use that number. If you have to leave a voice message, leave a voice message or text. Okay, Sean, I gave out that number. And we'll give it out again at the end of the program. John, you heard me? Okay, so we're gonna go. Sean, you're on mute. Okay, we're going to go ahead and transition into the second part of the program. And what we want everybody to see, we started off with Sharnez first, because it doesn't matter whether you're top of the top or the lowest of the low. When the enemy decides to do something, then it's going to be done. When you take with her situation as far as a hospital worker antagonizing her son to make him go off, because he's already special needs, and then pick up the phone to call Child Protective Services to say the mom can't handle the child, he needs to be taken, and then the child is taken from the mother. These are real things that go on every day. We talked about the couple that was driving through Tennessee and had all 5 of their children taken. I want to play this song right quick, and then we'll come back and we'll get into more of this topic.
Come on, Bishop. Yeah. Listen, let it go. My name Bishop Bullwinkle. I got the first church, nothing but the truth. What you say? Deacon Kyle, Deacon George, Deacon Clay. Open up the door and turn them loose. Come on. First, I want to thank God for the blood running warm in my veins. Yeah, I thank God for my life, health, and strength. I got a sound mind, I'm not insane. Come on. I ain't gonna preach too long. I ain't gonna take the service too far. My sermon this morning, hell to the no. Come on. Hell no. To the no. Yeah, to the no. Hell to the no. To the no. Listen. Sister Edna, Sister Ruth, make sure that everybody get a seat. Come on, y'all. Sister Lily may go back in the kitchen, cause when I get through, I need to eat. How much it? Fix me collard greens and cornbread and rice. Chicken breast, oxtails on the side. That's what I'm talking about. Deacon Underwood, get my Bentley ready, cause when I get through, I need a ride. Come on! Dr. West, count the money, come back and tell us what you raised. We had to find another deacon. I got some people there looking for some blessing. First, God got to get the praise. Come on, y'all. See, there's an old saying, when the praises go up, you get the blessing coming down. I got some people in the church, God Almighty, look at them, they messing around. Come on. Woo. Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no. got people in the church smoking weed, drinking whiskey, they drinking a lot of gin. What you say? I got the preacher with the night prayer meeting, talking about can I get an amen? Come on! Early Sunday morning, about 10:15. Yeah! I got some people, they coming off the street, God Almighty, look at them, they strolling in. They need help. They laying at the altar, they confess to sin, their sin. Come on, wait. Time is here Monday morning, they doing the same thing again. Hypocrite, hypocrite. Hell no. Come on. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen, talk. Got kids dropping out of school, talking about they don't want to learn. Yet they're standing on the corner rolling blunts, talking about come on, let's burn. Y'all better get back to school. I got kids walking up and down the street, pants hanging down around their knees. Pull them pants talk about that they're looking for a job. When I see them get a book, I say please talk to them. See all they ever talk about, brag about who got the biggest and the baddest gun. Trying to see the copper with the bubble top. They dropping the gun, they wanna run. Put them guns down. Now the sheriff got them locked up. They sitting in the county jail. It's a shame. I heard the mama, she was crying all night. She can't get no money for the bill. Come on. Now the man with the homeboy, cause they didn't put no money in the commissary. Your friend gone now. They had you in the jail, brother, man. You were sure headed for the cemetery. Come on, wait. See, there's an old saying that a hard head makes a soft behind. Yeah. Well, since you did the crime, don't do the time. Stop the baby crying. Come on, come on. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen. When people talk about you, all you gotta do is let them talk much as they please. That's what they gonna do, y'all. Cause all you gotta do is get down on your knees. Tell the Lord about it. You tell God about it, and I guarantee you, He will never leave you alone. Yeah. All you gotta do is tell the devil, hell no, won't you leave me alone? Devil leave. Hell no. Come on, Wayne. To the no, no, no. Come on, come on. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Come on. Hell no, no. To the no, no. To the no, 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 no. To the no, no. To the no, no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no. To the no, no. Hell to the no. No, 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 no. Hell to the no, no.
All right, so that was old Bishop there with hell to the no. And I use that today because I think that's appropriate for what we're about to be talking about and what we were talking about. Because there comes a time when the foolishness has to stop. There comes a time where you gotta say, no, this is not happening, not today. Doc, I saw a video the other day where a brother was on the side of the road. The police pulled him over and actually was searching his body for drugs. Now, they had their camera on. They were bending him over, and they kept saying, he's clenching his cheeks. He got it in his rectum. And he's like, I don't have nothing on me. I don't have nothing on me. The common decency that doesn't exist when you're dealing with a white person dealing with a black person. The common etiquette of how you deal with people doesn't exist. That you can take a grown man, pull his pants down on the side of the road and attempt to stick your fingers up his rectum to see if he got drugs there. They get him to the police station, find out he never had nothing on him. He was telling them the whole time, I don't have no drugs on me. I don't have nothing on me. And different members of his family would come by and he would tell them, just go, just go. You know, it's gonna be all right because I didn't do anything, just go. But at a point, all of the foolishness has to stop. And as men, there should be a little buzzard or something that goes off in your mind to say, I'm not doing this no more. This just not going to happen. Not today. It's enough is enough. And it's easy for people like us that are aware of the time and what must be done, aware of the enemy and their history. But for those who don't really understand that, and for those who are, I would say, degreed up, who don't want to deal with the reality of the situation that we're in, that don't want to deal with that reality. What do you think? What is the answer for them to make them come alive to understanding what is really going on, and to say, hell no, this just it's not, we're not having it no more.
You know, I think that message of hell no, we're not having it no more does come out. It comes up from people of all socioeconomic statuses. But I also am very aware, this is one of the things that, one of the life lessons that I've learned, and it is quite simply, it's a very simple one, that poor people can't talk shit. Because what's held over their head is homelessness, poverty, all of these different maladies that can befall not only you, but also your loved ones. You know, it's when you really go back and you take a look at the civil rights movement, the perfect civil rights activist was a collegian or a high school student, because they in many ways had nothing to lose. Whereas their parents could not be on that picket line. They could not be so upfront in regards to their activism, because there would be significant socioeconomic employment repercussions for what it is that they do. And that remains to this very day. You know, and when you really think about those who are talking stuff, it's usually those who have some financial means behind them that are able to speak. But oftentimes, even with that situation, many of those individuals are willing to turn their head because they apparently believe that they made it and it doesn't affect them. I was looking for a video of a brother who was he was a custodian of some type at a school, and he had arrived at the school early because the fire department alarm had went off, and apparently he lived close enough to the school to know something was wrong. So he arrives and he lets the fire department personnel in. Well, he takes off from work early, like maybe 10 minutes early. And his principal, white lady, berates him as if he's a child. You know, when does your shift begin? When did you leave? Why did you leave? This school does not open until such and such. Don't you allow anyone in here? And he was doing the prudent, logical thing. The fire alarm is going off. The fire department is there. But the demeaning language and behavior, and one of the things that I know for sure is that that's not just reserved for people of color, for Black folk. I've seen that doled out against poor white folk. You know, anyone who is socioeconomically marginalized can be talked to that way. You know, it's only having a community behind you that is basically going to say, listen, we got you. Just don't be in the wrong in regards to what it is that you're doing. But if you're in the right, we got you. Unfortunately, the idea of solidarity, of having each other's back, is sometimes allergic. It seems like an allergen to our people. And we even, I'll say this, that even within the community that we live within, that you got people who say certain things about other people and say, man, you shouldn't be working with him. Boom, 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 boom. That's compromising, who you are and your brand and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, we're within the nationalist community, with different variants and flavors of nationalism, but we should all be working towards the liberation and salvation of the Black nation. But there are many within our midst who are saying that if I'm not the one that's at the lead of Black folk being liberated, let them remain chained, enslaved, and marginalized. We are a people that have some significant psychological issues to get over. But to go back to the original question, the idea of speaking up is going to come with severe repercussions if you don't have anything to back it up with.
And Doc, I was here in Philly in a political meeting with different politicians and regular registered voters. And the white guy before me was talking about, the greatness of America and how much he loved America. And that there's been certain people to move America from the straight path that it used to be on. And he gave like he was this big old patriot. And so when it was my turn to speak, I said to him directly, you lie. Because you claim that you love America so much. You claim that America was on this nice, beautiful path for everybody to see freedom, justice, and equality. You paint this picture, and now you paint the picture that America is just a despot. But yet in the Constitution, or if not the Constitution, maybe it's in the preamble, but in one of these papers that your founding fathers wrote, it says that when the bonds that's supposed to unite them and you're under good government becomes corrupt, it is the duty of the people to overthrow that government. I said to him, if you love America so much, you and your group, why haven't y'all done that? Why haven't y'all done something meaningful to really make America this shining city on the hill that you claim that it's supposed to be? Because the America that I know, the America that I learned about, even though Trump called different African countries shithole countries, America is right in that pot as being a shithole country. Mm-hmm. And so this patriotism that white folks claim to have, where is their real bravery at? Because America has been taken a long time ago. When they took it off the gold and silver standard and backed the money up with nothing. And so you're in a situation now where you can't even finance your own agenda. You got to go to this country. You got to go to this country. So the only thing that backs America, the dollar, is the might of the country. And now, since different countries have decided to pay their oil when they buy it, not in dollars, but in other currencies, that's going to wreck America even worse. Where is their patriotism when it comes to the real deal?
Well, I deal with this idea of patriotism, often. And I'm often out of step with my brothers. And and I don't believe it compromises my position as a nationalist, as a revolutionary nationalist. But I look at myself as being a patriot of America. And I challenge many of these loudmouth patriots with the idea that, quite simply, this is my nation. The first man to die Crispus Attucks for this nation was a Black man. Okay, I don't concede them anything. And I point out their extreme hypocrisy, which to just boil it down to its very last compound is actually they've made patriotism be a euphemism, be analogous to supporting white supremacy. And only patriots can join in. Only those who are interested in extending white rule can be considered patriots, such as Clarence Thomas, some of those cats. The patriotism lies in love for the land and the nation. And there's nothing more productive and fruitful for a quote unquote democracy than good old revolution, because it allows you to reset a lot of things. But this idea that unless you are supporting white world supremacy, white totalitarianism, you can't be a patriot. I take huge offense at that, and I don't let them get away with that type of thinking, because they're wrong on so many levels. They're immoral. They're ahistorical. There's so many different levels. And what is really painting the white man, and I separate the white man from Europeans, because the American white man is a special breed of person. They're unwilling. They would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. They're never going to share power, because in every way they are the equivalent of petulant little children who are upset with a poor child who has one of their 1,000 toys. They can't concentrate on anything outside of they have my stuff, not looking at how they've been able to monopolize and control 999 other toys. It's that one that's missing that bothers them. And that comes from not decades, but centuries of privilege. And in many ways, I would argue that if DNA has memory, which I believe it does, they really don't have a fair chance at being fair to anybody on the face of the planet Earth.
I know that's real. You remember when President Obama was in office and he made that famous comment that the police acted stupidly.
Stupidly. That's when they went up into Skip Gates's house.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people within the academy, they said, man, you can't blame the police. Skip Gates probably ain't got pictures of Black people in his house.
And it's this attitude that permeates on police forces throughout America, I believe. And that is, you better accept what I do and don't question.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at a video where racist texts and emails were being sent amongst police officers. And at a city council meeting, the mayor spoke about it. And he was excited. But yet the condemnation that came to him, and the police having the nerve to say, nigga, you better apologize.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems as if, and other stories that we're going to be talking about, this recurring theme runs through, no matter whether you're president, no matter whether you're a DA, no matter whether you're the head of the FBI, you're a mayor, you're a city council, and you can be talking to the lowliest white police officer, but he still feels like he's your boss. You belong to him, regardless of who you are. Your title doesn't make a difference. it doesn't make a difference. So we're going to get in that. Let's go ahead and play the first video.
Racist, homophobic, and misogynist. Those were the words residents of Antioch used at a city council meeting tonight.
In fact, that's how they describe text messages allegedly sent by city police officers that are now under investigation. NBC Bay Area's Emma Goss joins us live at Antioch City Hall. It was a little bit of a free-for-all there tonight.
It was, and tempers and emotions certainly boiled over during public comment. And what I saw inside really was a city reckoning with what residents have said are years of discriminatory treatment by police that even Mayor Lamar Thorpe said has persisted in Antioch for far too long. It was a heated, at times chaotic, Antioch City Council meeting Tuesday. Mayor Lamar Thorpe briefly left the meeting, overcome with emotion. The central topic, offensive text messages sent between more than a dozen Antioch police officers over 2 years, uncovered by the FBI and obtained Tuesday by the East Bay Times. Messages like this one, where an officer wrote, "I'll bury that N in my fields." And yes, it was a hard R on purpose.
When you hear these text messages, this was in their heart. This is in their heart. And it's not just 17 individuals we're talking about. We're now talking about 24. 24. I'm not sweeping it under the rug.
The mayor said he supports Police Chief Stephen Ford's decision to hire an external investigator. For now, the chief said that any officers involved are not working on the streets. He said the exact number of officers under investigation has not been determined.
This is unfortunate. Let's not gloat in this. This is very, very unfortunate to the city, to this organization, and to the profession.
A 22-year-old community organizer and activist told the city council she was the subject of text messages between officers. She claims they sexualized her and used racist language.
You need to understand and educate yourself that the terms that you are using are not okay. And I'm honestly very ashamed to be a resident of Antioch.
There are going to be some changes. Some of those changes may make people feel uncomfortable. I don't give a damn.
Thank you.
It's going to happen.
About time.
Because it's the right thing to do.
The city manager, city attorney, and the police chief have all assured the city council that an independent audit of these officers associated with the text messages is pending. But because this is also being investigated by the FBI, Police Chief Ford said that he couldn't comment on the details of an open investigation. Reporting live in Antioch, Emma Goss, NBC Bay Area News.
Emma, thank you very
Okay, we're going to watch one more,
people
and
in
then we'll
this
come back.
community apologizing for the racism that is going on in this community. You're the problem. You're the problem.
Yeah, you were just listening to some tense moments from that council meeting last night where the mayor of Antioch got into a heated exchange with a resident who was defending the police chief and calling for the mayor to be investigated instead. Last night, the mayor and some council members demanded reforms within the police department following this racist text scandal. At first, we heard 17 officers were involved in the investigation. Well, now the mayor says up to 26 officers. That's at least 20% of Antioch's police department. So the question remains, what does the city say about having enough officers to keep people safe? Well, we talked to the chief right after the meeting.
We have adequate coverage. Thankfully, we've restructured our staffing, our patrol division, and so there will be no gaps in service. The city is safe.
So right now, the Antioch police chief reports to the city manager, but the mayor wants to change that and have the chief report to the council instead. City council members talked about making the change during that meeting last night, but no word yet on a vote. The mayor pro tem says they need to rethink how they do policing.
If we're going to keep our community safe, not just from crime, but also from the very people who are meant to protect and serve, we need to really rethink how we do policing in a more drastic way here in the city of Antioch.
Dozens of people shared their stories about mistreatment at the hands of police officers during that fiery meeting last night. The fallout over this Antioch police scandal may grow stronger in the days ahead. So stick with us on our website, kpix.com, for the latest updates as we get them. Amanda.
Justin.
I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Christina Rendon. The ongoing investigation into dozens of Antioch police officers has increased security concerns among Black City officials. KTV's Brooks Rose joins us live outside Antioch City Hall after speaking one-on-one with the mayor there. Brooks.
Well, Mayor Lamar Thorpe tells me he now carries pepper spray. He actually had to have his phone number and email removed from the city website. That's because he says he was receiving ridiculous calls and racist death threats. But it hasn't stopped because someone has posted his cell phone online, he says. So those racist death threats keep on coming.
I've been concerned about my personal safety since the day I became the mayor.
For Antioch Mayor Lamar Thorpe, the confrontations and threats against him are nothing new, some stemming from inside his city's police department. Racist text messages among officers suggest they shoot the mayor during a 2020 protest following the murder of George Floyd.
I just don't feel comfortable asking them for anything at this point.
Reverend Al Sharpton is now calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to provide protection, tweeting the true colors of the Antioch Police Department are exposed. Attorney General Garland, we demand action.
There are people who have literally blamed me because we have racist police officers at the police department, blamed me and said somehow I brought the FBI into the city of Antioch.
A broad investigation and scandal involving dozens of officers recently reached a boiling point. Two bombshell reports reveal rampant racist, sexist, and derogatory comments.
I'm just getting all of these calls about my safety.
Vice Mayor Tamisha Torres Walker says it has been 2 years of pure hell. Even her two sons were targeted and received death threats. She says she's hired private security and installed cameras. Her oldest son moved out, fearful for his safety.
It just says that if you're an African American politician or public servant in the city of Antioch, your life can be in danger.
City officials say the hostility has grown with loudening calls for police reform. Criminal justice professor Lisa Hill agrees.
The emotion centers behind this lack of synergy that's necessary between a police department and their community. There needs to be a symbiotic relationship.
The fix, she says, starts with transparency and identifying the root of the problems that need to be addressed.
Police are charged with serving and protecting and keeping the peace. And if we can't depend on our local agency to do that, you are going to see, this emotion is coming from fear.
Mayor Thorpe says he won't let fear stop him from overhauling police policies to better protect the community.
I think we'll come out a better city in the long run. Right now it's not going to feel good, but we're going to be a better city as a result of it.
Now, the mayor has requested 3 separate audits of the police department, one for police culture and equity, another for police hiring and promotions, and a third just looking at the police department as a whole, and all 3 of those passed city council unanimously. Live in Antioch, Brooks Jerose, KTVU 5.
Okay, Doc. So we had those 3 clips. I'll let you come on and give your what you think about what you just saw before I start asking some questions.
What I saw was probably the most succinct representation of America that you have, and this is one of the things that I often shy away from indicting all white folk. I don't do that often. But what I will say is that white America knows what's going on, because these rascals who've been caught sending texts to each other, they speak like that when they're amongst their own kind.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting at someone's table at Thanksgiving. They're sitting there, their feet are under someone's table, someone's pew at Easter service. One of the things that galled me, above a whole lot of other things that were said, is the idea of safety. the city being safe and what have you. The narrative should have quite simply been, we're safer now. We've gotten these 26 bastards off the street, you know, and you wonder why you have so much battle between Black folk and the police. That's why. Because we know that they are akin to thrill-seeking stormtroopers who come into our community and wreak havoc upon those that, you know, they're beating our children. They're beating our parents. They're sexually assaulting and intimidating our little girls, our daughters, our mothers, our sisters, our aunts. And we're supposed to be able to get along with them? No, hell no. Okay? And for people to support them in public, those people have no shame. And those are the people who, for all intents and purposes, once again, are willing to rule in hell than before they would want to serve in heaven. They have no righteousness in them. And I'm not upset when they get some of that act right put on them. Because quite simply, if they have the upper hand, they're going to strike regardless of who it is in our community. You know, and for you to have the unmitigated gall to say that about the mayor, to say that about the police chief, you should have been fired that moment. And that's what it comes down to. And I'm sick and tired, as Fannie Lou Hamer would say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this weakness that we often see coming from Black folk who are in positions of authority. Do your job. Your job is to protect and serve those who are under your dominion. And if you're letting these rascals go out and do what they want to do, what's really in their heart, because that's been sown in their heart. And they've been socialized to look at us that way. And you wonder why, to this day, I don't know a Black man who can be driving and see the police pull behind them, knowing you've done nothing wrong, and it doesn't create that gnawing, upset feeling in your stomach, because you don't know what's getting ready to happen, innocent or not. And unfortunately, far too many of our brothers adorn themselves with blue before righteousness or Blackness, and they're just as guilty because they're guilty by association. And I yield, brother.
Yes, sir, definitely agree. I wanted to pick out some of these comments that were given, and I'm gonna start with this one because I think it's the most damning. As Black men, especially when it comes to our mom, we're supposed to be defenders of our mom. But as one of the elected officials was saying that she was getting the death threats and they were coming in so much that her oldest son moved away. Mm-hmm. He moved out the house so he wouldn't have to be in that environment. And when I heard that, I said, what in the world? You gonna leave your mom? You gonna really leave your mama when these people calling so you don't have to deal with it? To me, Doc, that's cowardice. That's extreme cowardice. That you would leave your mama when you got these devils calling, talking about, we're gonna kill you this, we're gonna do this to you, we're gonna do that to you. This ain't the time that you abandon your mother. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, I hear what you're saying. I would like to know how old he was before I pass significant judgment. But at the same time, his mother is the pro tem of the city. And if she can't be protected by law enforcement, who will be? because you're in many ways dealing with a system that for all intents and purposes is operating as the United States operates. And it is quite simply that white might is always right. I'm not excusing his decision. I would like to know what else was going on through his mind as far as that. But there's something to be said for understanding that you've been surrounded and there's nothing that you can really do under these circumstances. It's the same feeling, and I say this because I don't think that Black folk are looked at through a lens of sympathy or empathy or understanding. His trying to move away to save himself is no different than what we saw the Jews do. Many of them turned and worked in conjunction with the Nazis, with the National Socialist Party, and thought that if I help them destroy my people, then I'll be viewed through a more sympathetic light. It's a survival strategy. It's something that people who are dominated as if they're in a concentration camp would do. And one is hard pressed to argue against, especially when you just looked at what they said about the police chief and the mayor, the people who control their paycheck coming in. These Black folk are living within, in many ways, the equivalent of a concentration camp, because who do they turn to if something goes on? Do you call the police? If you call the police, you don't know what you're gonna get. If you take it into your own hands, I guarantee you don't know what you're gonna get, because they're gonna put you up under the jail. They're gonna make you disappear, regardless of how right you were. And that's what it comes down to ultimately. And this is one of the points that I don't think that our white countrymen ever really think about. The decision making that occurs. This isn't AI decision making occurring. This is homegrown from the roots of America, glory days thinking. And these people in a split second will determine if you will live or die. And you usually have a DA who will determine, after sitting down, what charge is going to come. And that charge is often predicated upon how will my voters or my supporters or the majority of the community react to this. And if the reaction is going to be so negative that I don't get elected again, I'll pass and let this go. So in many ways, I think about being dominated, and how our people have for so long had to look the other way. We got to remember that the killing and lynching of Emmett Lewis Till in 1955. Till wasn't killed that first night he was abducted. People saw him in a truck with a bunch of other Black men. And one of the Black men who testified, he says quite simply that J.W. Milam or Roy Bryant, one of the bastards that killed Till, came out, and he said you could hear the licks and you could hear a young boy screaming and hollering. He said he walked up to him with a 45 on his hip, khaki pants. And he said, y'all boys hear anything? And he said, we all put our heads down and said, no, boss, we ain't heard nothing. Those are people who I wouldn't call them cowards. I would call them living inside of a concentration camp. They're dominated. There's nothing that they can do. There's no way they can turn. And that, unfortunately, has been the plight and the position far too often of Black folk in this so-called democratic nation.
Doc, I've been in so many different situations, right? And I remember one time in the mosque down there in Nashville, one day this MGT, and she was a junior MGT at that, about 16, 17. And she was on a school bus. And as she was getting off the school bus, a boy...
Hold on a second. Some people may not know what an MGT is.
Oh, okay. That's a sister that belongs in the Nation of Islam, that belongs to the Nation of Islam. So she was wearing her headpiece, and this boy went and snatched her headpiece off and started hitting on it. Now, when the report got back to the mosque in Nashville, then, people start meeting. And I was like, well, I need to go up there to find out what happened. Let me deal with it. Now, in this meeting was the minister, the captain, the secretary, all the laborers were present. And so a few other people were present. Now, they were worried to let me go because they say, you're going to start some stuff. The secretary of the mosque, who's the number 2 in command, said, it's not our job. You got to call the police. I say, what? There's an MGT that been assaulted. And you really telling me we supposed to call the police? Nigga, you lost your mind. We are the police. The hell you mean call the police? We are the police. And so, they wound up, they allowed me to go and had, 4 other people. And as we're talking in the car, I'm already gauging where their level of action is. And they're like, well, we're just coming to see what's what, take a report and go back. Me, my mind is, let's go to that person's house, knock on that door, drag their ass out, and whoop their ass. Let them understand you don't put your hand on no MGT. It's just never allowed. Never allowed. And of course, they put me out the mosque because I don't have that kind of heart that just let everything just go. That's just not me. When we were doing tours through Mississippi and we got to the house, to the barn where Emmett Till was killed, and I was walking around this land and I went to the barn where he was killed, and it just the eerie feeling was in there. And I told the person in the car, I'm going to the door. I'm gonna ring this doorbell. When the stuff pop off, drive off. Because I already made it up in my mind that I'm gonna handle this business that should have been handled years ago, soon as they opened that door. And I didn't know how many people was in there and didn't even give a damn. But I know I was gonna lay down some righteous ass whooping on everybody in that damn house. And so I went to the door and I'm ringing the doorbell and I'm knocking on the door. Ain't nobody come to the door. So I get back in the car and we drive off. But I already determined that if they'd have came to that door, they'd have got the most righteous ass whooping that they ever thought that would come. Because we take so much. We're so lenient as a people when we're dealing with our most wicked enemies. We're so lenient as a people when we're sending the wrong message day in and day out. We got to speak the language that they understand. They don't care about you loving them. They don't care about you being nice with them. They're going to dominate you until you say enough is enough. To hear one of the people say, well, what kind of heart they got? What do you mean? What kind of heart they got? It's no good that they've always been. And we want to lay down and show love to them. They're not worthy of love. And I strongly believe that if we as a people, as men, say, hell no, enough is enough, I will whoop your ass. I will give you all the terror that you have earned. It must be different. It'll be different. Even the God teaches us that slaughter is better than oppression. That slaughter is better than oppression. And we been oppressed for so long, we get comfortable. We get comfortable. Oh, it's all right. Well, you know, they racist. This is just what they do. What? Why would you accept that as the reality? And I think this is our problem that we got to be able to come head to head with and confront. Let's get it on. They want it so bad. Let's give them this ass whooping that they're looking for. Because I firmly believe they would never win. They won't win. We just got to be willing to go there. When do you think, Doc, that we'll as a people, or do you even think that as a people we'll get to that point and say, let's get it?
No,
let's go.
I don't think we'll ever get to that point. And I'll tell you why. Because our anger is fleeting. It is based upon emotion, not based upon principle. And as soon as those emotions exit, your commitment goes as well, if that's what your commitment was based upon. So no, I don't think that we'll ever, there's some of us who will always be positioned there because our indignation, we know it's righteous. But the majority, no, and they're in every way still hoping that there can be peace with individuals who wish them dead. And those things will never be, you'll never, it takes me back to, and this was the imagery that came in my mind when you were talking about being in the garage and then going to the door. Reminds me of John Brown, where John Brown basically said, look, I'm gonna show y'all how to get them free. And it was through raw violence. Until we're able to end our addiction to a cultural diet, an intellectual diet that glorifies everything but Blackness, I don't think that it's realistic to even think that they could muster up the ideas, let alone the courage to do something significant. Because in every way, when we look at each other, we're not seeing individuals that need protection. We don't see a descendant of our ancestors. I mean, keep in mind, we are a people who, number one, it's a miracle that we're still existing. But number two, we are the same people that will lower our head, turn our head to avoid making eye contact, to even say good morning, to even acknowledge another person's humanity. One of the things, and you're a military guy, I'm not, but when you talk to service members and who've been in the heat of battle, they almost invariably say the same thing. They don't talk about patriotism or anything when they're talking about why they're fighting. They're fighting so diligently and strong for the guy that's to their left and the guy that's to their right. And until we develop that, that I'm serving for the brother to my left and the brother to my right, there's really not a realistic chance for us to really do something collectively as a movement. Like I was saying earlier, there are individuals who within the nationalist community that hate each other and will not work with each other, and talk bad about people within that community, So I always revert back to the idea of mental illness being the greatest illness afflicting Black folk. just truly believe that. We don't love each other enough to bleed for each other. That's us.
You know, our next one that I wanted us to get into, but we'll have to do it next week. We're out of time. Is a prosecutor, Kim Gardner, in St. Louis. And of course, a Black woman, and they're trying to get her out of office. She said when she got elected, the police union came to her and told her, this is how we do things, and you're going to do it the way we say you're going to do it. This is how it's been done. And she was like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I'm not down with that. And, you know, they've been in this battle ever since. And so not only is she fighting with the police union, but the state attorney general trying to get her out of office. And I mean, just to watch this thing, you know, it's like, wow. Here's a Black woman of authority, of power, who's in there trying to do what's right for her people and for everybody. And for everybody that falls in line, that falls under, you know, this justice system that you get caught up in. And it's like on cue. Soon as the state attorney general did his press conference, then all of the white, the majority of the white DAs in her office began to quit. Say she ain't this, she doing this, she doing, not coming to court, not showing up for their trials. And so they holding her in contempt for what they did. And it's like, what? Calling her stupid, incompetent, she can't lead, she can't do this, she can't do this. And it's like, what? But when it was the white boy, it was all good to go, no matter what the hell they've been doing. But when somebody say, no, that's not the kind of shop we running, then their thing is, oh, you think you an uppity nigga? Oh, we gonna get you. We gonna get you. And so, you know, we'll see it as we go into it next week. I believe we all must be willing to pay a price for the freedom of our people. You know,
what percentage of Black America do you think is willing to pay a price for our freedom? If you had to put a number on it, because you didn't deal with our people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget your brother down here in Houston, Quanell. You know, so.
I would say maybe 5-10% of our people will be willing. But the thing is that those, whether you're in the ministry, in the church, in the mosque, you're at home, what is the food that you're feeding our people mentally? Mm-hmm. Because there's obviously a discretion, a mishap somewhere that they're not getting fed properly the knowledge that they need to have so that they'll be able to stand up in the time that is demanded to stand up and do something about what's going on. And so there has to be, and I believe we're in that period where our people is rejecting this go along to get along kind of mentality. I think the younger of our people, they're rejecting this and they are actually seeking the truth. What is the truth? How should we really respond? Why should we really do this? Why should we accept this? And so during this changing of the guard, the people are the overseers are watching to see who gets up to say what, who will stick to our script and who will not. You know, we have to not just press our way, but we got to bulldoze our way right through and grab the attention of the people, and they will listen and they will feed, and then they will begin to change from the message that we bring. That is my 1000% belief that if we can get our flag up the highest, they will listen, they will come, and they will perform. properly?
You're idealistic. I definitely, I don't believe that, because in every way, our children, and I used this example in one of my classes where I'm talking about J. Edgar Hoover's infamous quote where he says that the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense is the single greatest threat to the internal security of the United States of America. And, Huey talked about this often. If you ever seen a Huey P. Newton story with Roger Gunnerbor Smith, he talks about it. It's one of the little things in there as well. And what Hoover was talking about was in Huey boils it down to grits. He said grits are the single greatest threat to the United States of America. But Hoover's correct, because what J. Edgar Hoover was recognizing is that at the Panther School, you got these Panther Cubs who are learning revolutionary theory at the ages of 3, 4, 5 years old. Black is beautiful, free Huey, set our warrior free, free Huey. That's what they're learning. Whereas over there at the public school, where the vast majority of our children are at, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I. And what Hoover is saying is, what do you think you're going to what crop is going to be brought in when you have one group talking about Black is beautiful, free Huey, versus the other one talking about Old MacDonald had a farm, a silly song, where they're trying to learn barn animal, barnyard sounds. So until, we're socialized as human beings. Okay, that's the beauty, that's the blessing and the curse of being a human. We have to hijack that socialization process. And the problem with hijacking it is that you're dealing with parents and grandparents and great-grandparents who went through that indoctrination system. And it's really all that they know. And they don't trust, even though it's a Black teacher that's teaching them at the public school, they wouldn't trust a Black teacher or Black education that's coming out of a independent Black school. Until we can get the minds of our people, and we're able to arrange them coming out and thinking on one accord, we're in trouble. It's not accidental that people who come out of the University of Notre Dame are they're pro-life, because it's in their religion, it's in their the materials that they read, it's in the lectures that they hear, that this is what we believe. Black folk need something that we believe. And the idea of us being so divided, that holds us back. And you throw in the education, we're done, let alone, and we're not even dealing with social media that our people are seemingly not only addicted to, but also taking life lessons from.
All right. Well, we are at our time, a little over our time. Doc, you want to give your closing comments?
Bro, just happy to be here. To be counted in that number one once again, as my Christian ancestors would say. Just willing to serve and willing to build and willing to continue to believe that there is a path for us to achieve liberation. We just got to go ahead and lay down those bricks, and our people have got to be open and willing to travel down that revolutionary road and abandon such silliness like a designer purse, these watches that brothers are pulling off of each other's arms, and chains, that these material trinkets that someone has told you is worth something, and you're willing to give up your freedom, if not die, so that you can have it in your possession and get a self-esteem boost. So just trying to continue working down that path, brother.
Sir, thank you, Doc. And my closing comments. One thing that we have to understand for sure is that even as the Bible talks about that the children of Israel would not hear Moses and Aaron. So God sent fiery serpents on the children of Israel. And we're taught that what that means is that because the people would not listen to the guidance that the God was sending, then he allowed more of the enemy to attack the children, to get them to see and understand what is laid before you. And so the more that we stay asleep to the reality of who these demons are, the more dying that's going to come, the more Sandra Bland. And even when we think about Crispus Attucks, because you brought up Crispus Attucks, and you know, until I learned about Crispus Attucks, because you always hear he was the first one to die in the Revolutionary War. You know, so you think, you know, he died as a soldier, blah, 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 blah. But that ain't even what happened. That ain't what happened. What happened to him is like what happened to Mike Brown. And when I learned that, I was like, what? 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 He died like Mike Brown? And the British officers got free. Charges dropped. No, it was found not guilty. If we don't wake up and be taught properly what the real deal is, you'll stay asleep and you'll be a victim. And your children will be of this American lie. Of this American lie. You want to praise God? You want to see God? Then you begin to wake up and understand the duty and the responsibility that God has placed on you as a man. As a man. And we just continue letting all these things just happen, then it is better for all of us to be dead. We're just going to let this stuff continue to go on. You better wake up and understand the time and what must be done. But your cowardice will not be allowed to stand. I don't give a damn who you are. Your cowardice will never be allowed to stand. When you at that moment of decision, and this devil is dealing with you. Just go back to the black man who allowed the devil to disrespect him by searching him, born in his pants, man. And you allow that. That's cowardice. You better fight with every damn thing you got, even if it means your death. So be it. So be it. But I guarantee you, you take them right along with you. And that will begin to make them think, I may not want to go down that route. Because they want to go home to their family just like you. Just like you. But now they thinking, oh, I can do anything I want to this black woman. I can do anything I want to this black man. I can do anything I want to this black child or this black ugly person. Because you're going to bow down. Today's a new day. You killed the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you for listening, everybody. Love you, peace, and blessing. Oh, I almost forgot. I want to thank Eddie, Michael, Don, Sam, Janice, Daniel, Kelly, Robert, Brother Carlton, Brother James, and Brother Fred. Thank you all for watching, and for those who, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get your name real quick. I apologize for that, but we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for being on time. As we get more into this, because we gotta be able, look, we're gonna be men or we're not. We're gonna be elected officials that's holding offices of power and use the power that these offices come with, or you ain't gonna be in there in front of the people. It's just that simple. And you can always call in to the program if you desire, just like we had Charnez call in today on the program. You can as well call into the program. And I want to give Charnez's number out one more time. And that number is 646-516-8558. That's 646-516-8558. And that's Shaughnessy to help her with her son, to get her son back. Need to do anything and all the things that we can do to make that happen for her, because she's been doing it all by herself. All right. Doc, you got anything else you wanted to add before we go?
You know, just encourage the audience to, you know, inform others who may be interested and to be interactive with us. You know, go ahead and push that Zoom button, come in here with us and build with us. You know, just looking forward to, you know, one more brick towards reversing the negative image that Black folk have, the damage that's happened to the racial brand. You know, we can't be lackadaisical or passive in regards to doing that. So go ahead and relax, call in, and I'll try and make sure Brother Maurice don't yell at you. You know that I ain't gonna yell at you. And so we'll make it happen. God bless you all.
Some blessings, family.